I wish I knew this when I was starting my business, because when I started my business, I thought that I'm doing everything wrong and I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted, and I thought I'm missing this crazy strategy or whatnot, right? And I kept researching and trying to figure out the problem that wasn't even there. Until one day that I realized that my whole problem was my toxic environment, right? People around me were doubting me, were not sharing the same vision as I had, and simply they were putting their doubts and their pressure and perception on me. And I was constantly distracted by apps, notifications, as well as social media. And I had distractions in my room like TV, where I could just easily watch Netflix and waste all day, right? And I did not have the healthiest foods in my fridge, which caused me brain fog, and I was tired constantly with no energy whatsoever. And my workspace as well was super messy. I didn't have anything organized. My desktop was full of apps, and 200 tabs open on 3 different screens, right? So you can imagine that was like very confusing and very disorganized, which I perceive as a very toxic environment. And then it clicked for me. I finally understood why I was stuck and why I wasn't growing as fast as I wanted. And I finally understood the reasons why I was not able to focus on my work, reasons why I was putting everything up for the next day, and why I was constantly demotivated and seeking cheap dopamine instead of actually focusing on the things that matter. So it was because I created this hostile environment for myself, and I was sabotaging myself and my success. And that's why environment is very, very important. Environment plays a huge role in our behavior, and no matter how different we are in terms of personalities, it's fascinating how certain behaviors just keep popping up when we find ourselves in a specific environmental conditions, right? It's like there are these patterns that repeat themselves constantly, no matter who we are as people. And that's why it's so important to live and work in an environment that is filled with productive cues rather than unproductive and distracting cues. So let's take a look at how you can design an environment that works for you and helps you achieve your goals faster. So first of all, I just want to quickly explain the habit creation and the fact that every habit is initiated with a cue. So, and if you think about it, you can easily spot a cue in your environment that stands out mostly, right? So environments we find ourselves in, both at home and work, often lack clear cues that prompt certain actions. So because of that, it becomes easier for us to neglect those behaviors because there is no obvious trigger around them to initiate those cues, right? So what we can do to overcome this is to create obvious cues that draw our attention towards a desired habit, towards something that we want, like for example, working on our business or exercising or eating healthy, whatever that might be. By incorporating triggers into our surroundings, in our home, or if you have an office or in your office, you significantly enhance and increase the likelihood of keeping the habits at the forefront of your mind throughout the day. So you don't have to think about it, because when something becomes automatic, it becomes a very important, very big part of you. So you want to create these cues and these triggers as something like you do on autopilot, right? And these triggers serve as constant reminders, making you more likely to actively think about it and engage in your desired behaviors, right? So each location in your house or office develops a connection in your brain to a certain habit, routines, or behavior of yours. So with that said, your behavior, the good or bad that you have at the moment, they're not defined by the particular objects in your house or in your desk or in your home office or wherever you are, but by relationship and connection you have with them, right? So once you see or spot a cue, for example, in the environment, it automatically triggers you without you even knowing it. For example, I see this cup of coffee, and when I sit in a distance, immediately it triggers the desire to have a cup of coffee, even though before I wasn't even thinking about it, right? The same applies to work, right? So that is really important to understand. So again, you have that urge to act in a way that you program yourself to. Subconsciously, you assign a connection with a particular thing, and usually it's created based off emotion, a strong emotion, positive or negative. Again, like for example, if you try to work on a task, but then you see a phone nearby, you look away and you're triggered to go on social media and consume content and get a quick dopamine, because that quick dopamine is a reward, right? So that becomes this automated behavior because you reward yourself for taking that phone and going on Instagram and watching reels, right? So you can break this habit of going on social media, of cutting coffee out of your day or whatever that might be, but you cannot never forget about it, right? What we need to do is we need to learn how to manage it instead of escaping it or trying to be delusional and saying to ourselves that we can absolutely get rid of this habit, right? But what we can do is we can get rid of all the distractions that we have around ourselves, which is the first step to optimizing the environment that works for you. So if you can get rid of them completely, make them at least invisible or and unattractive to do. Like, for example, your phone, social media, TV, notifications, other apps, game consoles, and also you can throw away unhealthy foods and drinks and alcohol, nicotine, whatever that you have out of your house. You don't see it. You're making it impossible for you to access it, which is really important. That's the first step you need to eliminate before you can add something to your days. Right, the next step is to clean up your environment. Create a workspace you enjoy working at. If you work currently at a space where you just hate, like waking up and sitting behind, like if I was now working in an environment that I hate, then I wouldn't be motivated to work on it, right? I would be really feeling this resistance that I don't want to work. But I created my environment, with like books and amazing standing desk, lights, desktop, everything is clean, and I enjoy sitting every single day behind this desk and work, right? So that's really important for you to do as well. So keep everything clean and organized. Have one screen, maximum 2 screens with 1 to 2 tabs open. So make sure that you're focused and you're not mentally drained when going through these tasks, right? So have a clean and organized desktop as well. And number 3, if you can, stay away from toxic people. If you cannot leave your current home, if you're working in a home office and you cannot really move to a different country, then try to get an office or at least a co-working space where you can go and focus, because toxic people play a huge role in our environment and you want to minimize that as much as possible. And if you are able to move, then move to a different country, explore the world, move to another city, if not a country, right? That will help you tremendously when it comes to your motivation, focus, even overall progress and growth. So if you simplify your life and environment, it will be much easier for you to focus, get things done, and be super motivated. So that's really important to remember. And constantly think about your cues as you go through your day and that you have around you, and how you can make them less visible, less accessible, and less attractive for you, so you're not pretty much cued and triggered to do those bad habits and those behaviors in the environment, okay? And make sure that you actually introduce new cues and triggers that will help you stay more productive and are essentially good for you. So that's everything from me for today's quick video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one.